In and out.
Jake Paul, Nate Diaz, first press conference in the books. RJ,
Yeah.
initial thoughts. Let's hear it.
I think it's very exciting. I mean, seeing getting a chance to watch Nate Diaz box, we've all been like wondering how that would go for like a really long time. His main weapon in the cage is his boxing. You know what I mean? And he'll be the first one to say this. All the submissions he ever got throughout his entire career all started with his hands. He would either drop the guy and then go get the submission, or the person would be getting pieced up, so they would rely on the wrestling to take him out of his element, and then he would get the submission. So a lot of his finishes that were actually submissions came from his boxing. He's been boxing in gyms since he was a young kid, a teenager, at a very high-level camp, great coaches and great training partners. He's sparred with Andre Ward. That's one of the big names that gets thrown around in his camp, former world champion. Like, Nate knows how to box. Let's not, fool ourselves. Now, Nate's 38, spent most of his career at 155. Jake is a big kid. I don't think people understand that Jake probably walks around at 200 plus for most of his days. He's a big, powerful kid. He obviously has a ton of money, and he could hire trainers and box all day long if that's what he chooses to do. He's obviously been doing some big things in the boxing world, and I got to give credit where it's due. Every time I've been like, there's no way he's going to win this, he finds ways to win. I mean, Ben Askren, arguably the worst striker in MMA history. I love Ben, but let's be honest, right? So, but I still had Ben winning. I was like, Ben's going to win. He's got the experience. He's a MMA world champion, different organizations. He went undefeated for almost his entire career. Got knocked out. Tyron Woodley, not known as the best striker, but an extremely well-rounded guy, and certainly had knockout power in both hands, right? Tyron Woodley's a dangerous man. Knocked him out. Okay. Fast forward. Anderson Silva, granted, a little bit older than, not exactly in his prime. Anderson looked great in that fight, but so did Jake. Jake put him down on the canvas in the last round, kind of stole the oohs and ahs of that fight. Jake fought one real boxer, Tommy Fury, not a great look. I think that's why he wanted the quick rebound with a big name like Nate. But for the people out there who are Jake Paul fans, don't disrespect my boy Nate, bro. Nate is a fighter. He is a dog. He just rocked Leon Edwards, the 170-pound champion of the world, in the last round, in the last minute of the last round. Nate is always game. He can always hurt you. Jake being the bigger guy, it's going to be interesting. I don't really. Obviously, I'm going to pick Nate, but I've picked against Jake many times, and I've been wrong many times. So, how do you feel about the fight coming up?
I think you hit it pretty hard on the head there. A big thing that you mentioned is Jake's size. He's a big dude. Everybody, I think you're right on with everybody thinking he's not as big as he is. He's a large cat in that ring.
Big boy.
He definitely has to cut to get. I don't even know what they're fighting at, but
I think 85. I think 185.
Okay, 185. He definitely has to cut to get there. He doesn't walk around at 185 pounds. The Paul brothers are both big dudes, so that's a definite thing to think about. Nate is probably not going to be as big, but he's probably longer if I had to guess. Nate's been fighting his whole life. He's a fighter. He's a fighter through and through. He's fought the best. His boxing is pretty much what got him to the dance and what kept him there. He wasn't known for his kicks. He was known for his hands and his jiu-jitsu, and that got his wins. As you said, most of his submissions came based off his hands and the work he did with his hands. So Nate knows how to box, and now he could focus on just throwing hands.
Oh,
that's going to be a scary dude. He doesn't have to worry about kicks coming his way, takedowns coming his way. I'm excited to see what a strictly boxing Nate Diaz looks like. We know his cardio is going to be out the door. We don't have to worry about his cardio. So if he comes out and puts the pressure on Jake, Jake could be in trouble with cardio. Although he has pretty good cardio from the fights that I have seen from him, Nate Diaz brings a different level of cardio to the table that Jake probably has not seen before. Yeah, but as you said, Jake is a good boxer. I respect Jake for the boxing skills that he has. He's definitely put the time in. He's definitely worked at it, and I'm pretty impressed with what I see as far as skill goes. I like Jake Paul. I'm not going to hate on Jake Paul for doing something like this. I think he's got good hands. I think he works his combinations. He's got good things going for him. How do I see the fight going? I don't know. It's hard to say. It depends what Nate shows up. Is this Nate going to be training, or is Nate just going to show up and try and throw hands? Because if he doesn't train, then it might be a different story. But I think I'm rolling with Nate. I just think he's going to weather the storm of Jake Paul no matter what, and then put the pressure on and find a way to win, because that's usually what Nate Diaz does.
Yeah, two things you said I want to touch on. Nathan is known for his boxing, his jiu-jitsu, and his cardio. He is a master of cardio. This guy runs triathlons for fun in his off time. Like, this guy will not get tired. And we've seen Jake get a little tired. And to be honest with you, nobody's really put the pressure on him like I think a Diaz brother will. Nathan is going to put the pressure on. He's not going to let him settle. And if he gets Jake hurt, I'm very interested to see how Jake is going to be able to, I see a lot of hugging and clinching in this fight. That's a lot of what happened in the Tommy Fury fight. Nate's going to be behind that 1-2 all day long. Nate's an absolute beast. What was the second thing that you were saying? Something about Nathan.
Cardio, training, maybe?
Oh, yes. That was it. Is he training? Look, Nathan Diaz has been training more than half of his life. For the majority of his life, he's been training. I think he will train far long after he's done fighting. He will always train. Is he going to take this fight seriously? I think yes. He's not, aside of what people may think about him because of his lisp and the way he talks, Nathan is not a dumb guy. Okay, he's not gonna just come in off the couch and think in his mind, I'm just so much better than this guy, I'm gonna win. No, Nate wants to prove that his boxing is on another level. I'm sure he's in the gym as we speak, getting his road work done, running his miles, eating clean like he always does, drinking his water, getting in his pad work, getting in his sparring rounds. I think we're going to see a very, very sharp Nathan Diaz, and I hope Jake's prepared for it. I hope it's a good, fun fight for the fans. I mean, it's probably going to pull a lot of pay-per-view numbers. If it's a huge fight and Nathan wins, it's only good for us MMA fans, because that sets up either a return fight to the UFC for either the belt or a Conor McGregor, or it just, the bigger it is, the more it sets up things later on. If it's a boring fight and neither one of these guys look good, that's not good for the future. And I think Nate's thinking about his future. I think Jake is thinking about his future. I think this is a fight that's really meant to just kind of get eyeballs on both of these guys. And it's going to do, at the very least, it's going to do that. These guys were pretty borderline respectful to each other at this press conference. Like, they both gave props where it was due, but they also, you could kind of feel that heat and that tension. Jake is trying to poke at the ideas of oh, he's stupid and and all these kind of things. Look, Nathan's not stupid. He's always talked like that. He's not punch drunk. The guy's he's barely ever been rocked, not to mention stopped. He's been dropped a few times, but he's had how many fights, and he's fought literally top 10, top 15, top 5, the list of champions that this guy's fought throughout his career and he's never not fought good guys. He's always fought the best of the best. Nate's going to come prepared. I hope Jake comes prepared. Obviously, anyone who watches these shows knows I'm riding with my boy Nathan Diaz because he's one of my favorites of all time. But I just believe in his skills. I believe in this is it, even though Jake is still, he's been kind of beating up these old MMA guys, which hurts my heart, but he has. I think Nathan is just too relevant in combat sports, and he's too, like, he is 38 years old, so he's getting towards the end of that window. But I mean, he still can fight anybody in the world. Anybody in the world. I don't really see. There's not many people in the world that can hang with Nate Diaz. It's just the fact in any kind of fight.
Yeah, he's a fighter, man. He's gonna come out. He's gonna fight. I think he still has that fire to fight. I don't think that fire's lost. He loves to fight. This is all he's ever known. So I hope he trains hard, and I hope he comes out strong and sharp, and I hope Jake does the same. I hope he trains hard, comes out sharp. As you said, I hope for an entertaining fight that brings a lot of eyeballs, because that'll be good for both guys, win or lose. I'm excited. Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. First press conference down. We'll keep them coming, and let's get a good build up to this one.
Yeah, I thought Ariel Helwani did a great job being the whatever the name of that guy is.
Mediator.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that might be it. I think Ariel did a great job. Nathan had a point. Where are all the fans? It was like a closed. It was only media, so I think that was probably a mistake. The closer this fight gets, I think they said they're going to do like 4 or 5 press conferences. So I'm sure they're going to allow fans to show up in the future, and like those will be very fun. Lots of energy, lots of crap talk. I can't wait. Like, it's interesting. It's rare that someone announces a fight so in advance, so far in advance. So the build-up's going to be a little weird, because by the time it gets there, you're almost going to be like, oh my God, we're still talking about this. But if they keep building up the press conferences bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, it's going to be a spectacle for sure. And it's going to be good. Jake Paul, I hope you see this. We're going to clip this off. Jake Paul, put me on one of your cards. I want to fight the Island Boys. I'll fight them both in the same day, okay? Set it up. All right? Let's go. I'm going to call them out, dude. I'll fight them both in one night.
That's going on all socials. We'll tag everybody. Get RJ a boxing fight. Island Boys have been called out. Jake Paul, Nate Diaz coming up. Stay tuned.